Perfect. And I will turn over. Thank you again to our sponsor, TD Bank. And here is Parker Williams.
Thanks so much, Mike. Really appreciate it. To be honest, this stuff this morning bought me a little bit of time. I'm having major technical difficulties on my end, so joining from my phone here. But, so happy to be a part of this series and so happy to be able to continue to support it. We think it's a great series. You guys get great speakers. I'm really looking forward to today's presentation from Sandra, and we just love being able to continue to support the Merrimack Valley Chamber. So thanks so much.
Thank you, and I want to again thank you to TD Bank. We look forward to the more programs coming up in the future, as well as our NGL conference, which TD Bank is our title sponsor as well. I want to also thank Autumn Hodling. She's one of our NGL ambassadors, so we look forward to planning some great programs for the future in the upcoming months as well. So thank you to Autumn as well. And thank you all for joining us as well. We will be having in-person programs coming up. Won't have to worry about that stuff happening, at least hope not in the in-person programs, but we will be having those in the near future as well. So make sure to keep your eye on the calendar for those. And with that being said, I'm now going to turn it over to Sandra Freitas, who's the owner of multiple businesses, as well as Millenium Cleaning. So welcome, Sandra, and thank you again for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Is there anyone here that was on the presentation last year? No, I think, yeah, I think Autumn was here. I was like, I remember you. So it will be a little different because things change, which is good. So just a little introduction. As Michael said, I own Millenium Cleaning. My husband and I own that business. It's a commercial cleaning company based out of North Andover. And but I just want to give a little background. I don't think I've ever done that before. And I have a paralegal background, and just how I got onto all of this. Like, I went to college, I have a paralegal background. I worked in the legal field for a long time, in real estate field, in legal real estate field for a long time. I went to law school, hated it, and withdrew. And after that, soon after that, I met my husband, and both of us we just wanted to own our own business. So we were really young and excited and naive too. And we bought a tanning salon, which completely tanked. It was just, I don't want to call it a failure, because it wasn't a failure in terms of what we did, but, and we learned a lot. Like, it was a stepping stone for everything that we did in our future in terms of learning from that experience, but it just was not a profitable business at all. And where it came from in terms of like the seller, and there was just a lot of lies and misrepresentation. So a lot of that stemmed from that. But that being said, there was a lot of like ups and downs. And my husband was in banking and he was a realtor as well, and loves real estate. He's been doing it since then. It's been over 17 years. And so, long story short, we sold that business, but it gave us that stamina, and we wanted to still be entrepreneurs. And we're like, we can still do this. It's just that wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the right business, but we learned from a lot of our mistakes. So Joe started Millenium Cleaning. He started Millenium Cleaning on his own with a couple of employees, and now we've grown to over, I'd say, 30 employees, which is awesome. I have also come into the real estate business with him, so we're partners in real estate, business and life, partners in business and life. And I know too, in the flyer, there also mentions Faith to Fit, which is not necessarily a business. It's actually more of a ministry for me. And I've come into that because I also have a fitness background, but I love helping people, and faith is a huge part of my life, and I love to share my faith. So I use fitness as a tool to share my faith. So those are three things that I do to our business. One is more passion, and it's a lot of juggling. So yeah, that's where I come into. Oh, and I have two daughters. Just want to mention that. So I've been married 17 years, almost 18, and we have two daughters. We live in Methuen. They're 13, almost 14, and 11. So And any questions you have at the end related to business, family, I'm happy to answer. So getting into, I just want you to raise your hand. If you put in the chat, raise your hand. If you're the type of person that sets goals in terms of like, you write them down, you have resolutions, like there's no right or wrong answer. Just, I want to see who might here do that. Anybody? Ryan, Hunter, cool. Awesome. All right. If you can also have paper and pen, because I will be asking questions and have you write stuff down as we go along for fun, nothing major. So I don't set goals. I'm not that type of person. And I always felt, to be honest, kind of like there's something wrong with me because I'm in business, I'm an entrepreneur, and everybody writes their goals and it's very specific, smart, all that stuff. And that's great. You know, it works for a lot of people. I have a friend, she's extremely goal oriented. Every time I talk to her, she, you know, so what are you going to learn from this? And what are you going to do with it? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. So that's just how I am. But I don't set goals, and but I obviously have desires, dreams, and I do find that what works for me, and the two things that I have found, is how I start my day and having systems in place. And those are the two major things. And I feel that how I start my day, it projects how the rest of my day will be. And my mindset is something I've also worked on a lot. So I get up early, and the two things that I have to do are pray and exercise. And if I don't do that, the rest of my day is complete. Like, it's just, my motivation is off, my productivity is off, my mood is completely changed. So knowing this motivates me to get up. Like if that alarm clock goes up at 5, and sometimes it's really hard to do, but I know that if I don't, I'm going to be extremely angry and just not a good person for the rest of the day. So those are the things I focus on. But kind of what really helped me get into that too was like I don't know if you've ever read The Miracle Morning. I did talk about this last year. The Miracle Morning is a book by Hal Elrod. And so I think if this is something you want to kind of start doing, he has a great process of doing that. And it's an hour in the morning, and you start, and his acronym is SAVERS. So it's S for silence, A for affirmations, V for visualization, E is for exercise, read, and scribe, which is journaling. And I did that for a while. I did it, and that really kind of set me on a really good path and routine. But now I don't really follow his. I just focus on the two main things that work for me, which is the prayer and exercise before I get started for my day. So it might look different for you. So I guess what I want you, for your morning, I want you to write down right now. I want you to just kind of think about, what does your morning need to look like for you to feel energized and motivated and productive? So if something you're doing now that works, write it down. If there's something you feel like you want to start doing, so what is one or two things that you need to do, change, so that your morning is, your mindset and your morning sets you up for a good day. So I'd like you to write that down.
Do you want us to write in the chat or just for ourselves?
Oh, for yourselves. I'm sorry. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. I just on a piece of paper for yourself, not in the chat. Yeah. You don't have to share. Okay. So the second thing, so first was, how I start my day, and then is systems in place. So I actually started reading this book, Atomic Habits. Has anyone ever read this? No? Okay. So it was recommended by a friend, and it's really good. He says, tiny changes, remarkable results. So he really focuses on, and what I like about this book is he talks about, it's not really the end result and setting the goal, it's really all those habits that you have in place and systems that you have in place. And what I loved was that it kind of reaffirmed all the stuff I've been doing. Because like I said, we all have like these thoughts, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I should be doing something different. they say that successful people write goals, successful people get up early, successful people read 20 books, you know. So it reaffirmed like all of the things that I kind of do in terms of good habits. He talks a lot about too about how to remove bad habits. But I love, he talks about like, don't focus on the end goal, focus on the habits that you need to create. And he talks also about habit stacking, which I really liked. He has a lot of great ideas. So I would highly recommend that book. But habit stacking. So like while you're doing something that your work that's doing well for you, maybe stack on that new habit. So while I walk on the treadmill, I'm going to listen to a motivational podcast, you know, or something that you want to work on, business podcast, money mindset, whatever it might be. So, and then he talks about making it easy. So that how to make it easy, how are you going to make those habits easy for you, setting out your clothes in the day before. I used to go to bed in my workout clothes because I would wake up at 4:20 a.m. So it was like, how am I going to do it? Because I just wanted to do the less work, more like less thinking, more moving. I would go to bed in my workout clothes. My coffee was ready on the counter, ready to be made. So I could go to the gym. Like everything was just making it easy, setting everything in place. But he gives you a lot of great ideas. But it just kind of helped me reiterate what I'm doing and give me some new ideas as well. So I think habits and systems, what are you doing now? What type of systems do you want to have in place to really be successful in what you're doing? So I guess my next question for you, what is one thing, what is a habit that you want to create or retain? What is a habit that a good habit that you feel like there's a new habit that I want to create? So I'd like you to write that down. Do you want to focus on sales, working more on social media? So I think as a business owner, especially a lot of you have small businesses, even in your professional career, you know, we juggle a lot of things. And sometimes I'm doing a lot of the things. I'm doing administrative, I'm doing social media, I'm doing marketing, I'm doing sales and, you know, bookkeeping. So with all of that, you need to create good habits to get them all done, you know. So so one of the things that, you know, I think that's great is really thinking about those different habits you want to have in place. And then mindset. I think mindset is huge. I don't know about you and how, but mindset sets your mind and your belief systems on what you're doing in terms of your job, your career, and success. And a lot of limited beliefs, we all have limited beliefs that kind of hold us back from really living the life we're designed in to live. And so I had to work a lot on like money mindset and different things like that. So what is something that you feel that maybe you have a limited belief about? You need to work on those to kind of remove those limited beliefs so that you can move forward and be successful. So like the limited belief about money, living always in lack, like you feel like you have to hold on to all your money, you might not have enough. So all of those things really hold you back from being successful in work. And when I started working on some of those limited beliefs, things changed for me. It's just a huge relief, and I can really focus on what works well in our business. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was writing things down. And I think that, this is proven actually, there's a 42% study, they call it, and I can put the links or send it out. You become 42% more likely to achieve your goals when you write them down. But also when you speak them out, you now have connected, they become even more concrete. So when you set your mind and speak it out, your brain changes. Something happens in your brain when you do those two things. So the 42% study says that when you write them down, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. You have your right brain is your thinking brain, and that's, you know, all of your imagination. And then your left brain is your logic-based hemisphere. So when you connect those two, and then you write it down and you state it out, things, you'll actually be more likely to do it. And so what I like to use is a planner. I don't know, so let's talk about some resources. I use a Panda Planner. I don't know if you guys have it. So I like it because it's every day of the week, and it starts with like what I'm grateful for, what I'm excited about, and then the priorities. So I have my 3 major priorities for the day. Those are things that I have to get done. And I work on it on Sunday. So Sunday, I will plan out my whole week. So planning ahead is key. You can use your notes app and put it in your notes app and put like, 8 a.m. wake up, 9 a.m. Do your emails, and then you check them off. And as you do that, it becomes more concrete because now you get to check them off. It's like our brain works differently with the rewards, and just checking something off is a reward. So on Sunday, I plan out my week, and then I will do like a brain dump. I'm like, okay, these are all the small little tasks that I need to write down. And in the Panda Planner, it gives you a page for that too as well before that. So what is it like for the whole week? I need to do like these small little things. I need to go to the post office. I need to do this return. I need to order this online, because those small little things will get lost. So I'll just do a brain dump and write down all the little things that I want to get done that week. And then I start plugging them in the different days that I can do them. And sometimes I get to the stuff that I want to do, and sometimes I move them. Like this week, school vacation week, I'm just focusing on the bare minimum of what I have to do for work, and focusing on just, trying to have fun with my family. So, so I'd like to talk about like writing something down in terms of like, okay, I want to start this new habit. And what he says in the book is like, you want to write it down and state it out. So I will walk on my treadmill at 8 a.m. And while I walk on my treadmill, I'm going to listen to such and such a podcast. Or on Sunday at 3 p.m., I will plan my social media for the week, which is what I do. That's something I wanted to work on for the real estate, because it was one thing I wasn't doing well and consistently at all. So I bought it's a monthly subscription for real estate for realtors, and it's very inexpensive. And basically all the templates are given to me, and all I got to do for every day is change the design and make it more personal, colors, all of that in Canva. So I know now that Sunday, 3 p.m. for 2 hours, I'm going to work on that. And I sit on the couch with my laptop, with my dog. I make it so it's like, it's not dreadful. So if it's something you really want to do it while you're doing something that you enjoy. And so I'm sitting on my couch with my laptop, and I just do that for 2 hours. So writing it down with specific in terms of the time and day, and then stating it out makes it, you'll be more likely to do it. So for me, it's just not so much setting long-term goals. It's just really, what are the things that I want to do right now, the work to help me be successful this week, this month, and then what are those habits that I need to work on or continue and retain. So it's really not a lot of like, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is an aha, like, oh, I have, all these, it's nothing major is what I kind of want to be. It's really just my habits and setting the systems in place. So I wanted to have you guys write some stuff down. This is all for your personal use. So let's do that. So for this week, for instance, I mean, we're already on Thursday. So let's I want you to write down, have like a brain dump of all the things that you want to do, personal and business. Like make a list of just all the things, whether they're small or big, for work and personal life, and just make a list of them. If you can do that for the next week. So like in the next week, some small tasks or to-dos, things you want to get done. So you're going to do that. I'll give you a couple minutes. All right, so next I want you to write one thing, and I'm going to give you different categories. So one thing in each category that you want to work on. So professionally, what is one thing professionally that you want to work on?
And this is still for the upcoming week, is that right?
No,
Okay.
actually, this is more general.
Got it.
Like, yeah, not for
Thanks.
one. Yep, this isn't, yeah, more long term. And what is one thing then mentally, spiritually that you want to work on? Again, more general, not within the next, no time frame. And then what is one thing personally that you want to work on? Like, do you want to be more organized? Do you want to be more on time for things, not always late? Like, that was something that was big for me. I was always feeling rushed. And I finally was like, again, I changed my mindset around it. I'm like, I am on time. I'm always on time or early. And that just changed for me. I'm always on time or I'm on early. I'm always early or on time. And now I'm always early or on time. Like, so it could be something small like that. All right, now a different list. This is going to be like big dreams, like no limit, no restrictions. What are your bold, big dreams? And I think this is something that you should do every once in a while. My big and bold, big dreams. I will read, I have this one book, this journal. It's only about my big, bold dreams. And every once in a while I go back and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is really cool. Like this has happened. This has happened. I'm still working on it. And I'm like, you know what? That doesn't really matter anymore. I don't scratch it off. I'm just like, I make a new list, you know? So it's good to do that because the universe, things will start to align for you when you don't even realize it. So, you know, it's good to write those big, bold dreams. And again, with no limits. Like I have one right now, but I am going to work towards that as well. I have one that's big, huge. Even my husband's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, well, I'm going to work towards it somehow. I'm just going to create these small systems. I'm going to research, what do I need to do to possibly achieve that? Like, what does that look like? So I'm going to start doing some small things. And again, I'm not, you know, saying I have to do this month, but now I'm like, okay, these are some of the things I know I want to do. So I'll start making a list, and then this month, maybe I'll work on one, and next month I'll work on another. This month, I'm just trying to get my taxes done. You know, like that takes so much time. So, you know, then kind of, I would recommend doing like, what do you want to complete this month? And then start plugging them in. So, that's basically it. I know it's not like super exciting, but I think what's most important too is stay true to yourself and how you do things, because everyone will have an opinion. And especially in business, we see a lot of what other people are doing, and we think sometimes, okay, why is it that they're achieving that and I'm not? Again, that's comparison and limited beliefs. You have to realize that what you're doing is the way you're going to do it. It's okay if someone else is doing it. You're different. No matter who that person is, you're going to do it differently. So there's always enough business to go around too. One thing that I don't like, there's a lot of competition in real estate, and I just don't work that way with other realtors. I am who I am, and I'm like, you know what? There's a ton of business out there. I know that I don't have to not necessarily compete, but like be cutthroat. I don't need to be cutthroat in what I'm doing. So I feel like you always need to, definitely the mindset and how positive you are and what you're doing makes a huge difference. Any questions?
Yeah, Sandra,
Anyone?
I'll just,
Yes, I was going to mention,
Oh.
if you have a question, you can just speak up or put it in the chat as well. So I'll take it away, Hunter.
oh, I was just going to say, thank you, Sandra, for sharing. I'll be honest, this is my first time here. I had no idea what to expect with this. So I found it very refreshing. I'm a small business owner.
Mm,
I'm an insurance agent. In the last year, started my own agency doing property casualty insurance. And there's ups
mhm,
and downs that come with starting a new
mhm.
business, as I'm sure you know. And it can get easy to, I think, get lost in the weeds and just feel a bit overwhelmed by it all. So
Yeah.
I really appreciated kind of what you were sharing, particularly about creating those solid habits, particularly in the morning, and then just trying to find things throughout the week, and help me realize a couple things about myself that I need to do. So I guess my question is how long did it take for you to really get established into these positive habits? Like how difficult was that? Sorry if there's a kid screaming in the background. I don't know if you can hear
Don't
that.
worry.
Kids are
No,
at home
it's
this
all
week.
good. Yeah.
But yeah,
Don't
how
worry.
hard was it for you to transition and to change your mindset when those times came?
It was a slow process, to be honest. I have to say, like the waking up early, it started with me just wanting to wake up earlier to exercise, right? And so I started just like slowly getting up a little earlier. And if I only had 10 minutes, then I just used that 10 minutes. But I would say it took a few months. It took a few months. And what James Clear says in the Atomic Habits book, which is so true, and it's just repetition. So the more you do something, so even though, yeah, it sounds, that makes sense, but when you really start doing it and really thinking about it, the more you repeat something, like when you're driving, you go to the same place every day, and then all of a sudden one day you're like, whoa, I don't even remember how I got here. I drove for 15 minutes, and your mind, you just ended up there. And it's the same thing. And yeah, you might have an off day, but then you're like, this is what I do. It's not like I'm tired and I don't want to do it. No, this is this is what I do. This is who I am. So I started to also seek out people that talked about mindset and affirmations. How are they doing it? So, and now that you start thinking about this, you're going to start seeing and hearing about people, because now you've put that out and that you want to start working on this. You're going to start seeing somebody on, there's going to be a podcast you're going to come across. You're going to see it on an Instagram. You're like, oh, this person talks about this. So maybe you get a book and it's an everyday, like short read devotional type thing that talks about positivity. So yeah, it took a few months. And like when I started the Miracle Morning, it took I would say took a little bit. Accountability is huge, because I met someone, and this is again, like it all lines up. I'm telling you, just start putting it out in the universe and stuff just like starts happening. People, I was talking about the Miracle Morning. I met a lady. She's like, oh my gosh, I read that book, but I got out of the habit. If you want to be my partner. So every morning we started texting each other. And we would wake up and be like, I'm up. Okay, that's it. I'm up. And that was it. So get someone on board with you. Be like, I want to do this. Do you want to do it? Someone who thinks like you, and that will help. When I was getting up at 4:20 to go to the gym, I would go with my cousin. So we wouldn't even if one of us was going to cancel, nobody would tell each other, because we knew the other one wouldn't show up. It was like, these are the days, this is the time, and we would meet each other. And that day, if she didn't show up, I'm like, oh, she was sick. But if I knew she wasn't, then I wouldn't go. So, but yeah, I mean, those things last for a little bit and then you change. Like last year, like I talked about Miracle Morning, because I was doing that. Now it's just a little different. So it will change, but just get right back on, get back onto the basics. That's what I tell myself. Get back to the basics. You fall off the diet, get back on the basics. What's the basic? Eating, drinking water, eating some fruit. So
Yeah, I think that's great, Sandra. I agree with you. If you have someone, you tell someone you're gonna do something,
yeah,
they hold you accountable, and it's like, well, I could wake up early or sleep in. And it's like if no one's gonna know, I'll sleep in. But if you know someone else is gonna know, it's easy to get back up early. I'm just curious, do you bring this like mindset to your business and like your different businesses that you run, or is it more just so personal?
do you mean in terms of sharing or just in how I do things?
In terms of how you run your business, or in terms of how you make decisions going forward on new ideas and stuff like that, or
Yeah, I definitely bring it to everything I do. in my classes and fitness, and I talk about that too. I talk about mindset, how to change your mind. I do it with my kids. You know, my daughter's like, I'm not good at math. I'm like, change your story. I'm getting better every day. Like, you can't be in that mindset. I'm not good at this. I can't do
Sure.
this. Like, so even at home with Joe, like Joe and I are different. Like, that's the thing, you know, you work with your husband. We're definitely very different in how we think. So we talk about it and I tell him, you know, like, so I definitely do it in everything, my relationships, my friends, and my business. For sure.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Anything like to add, Sandra, at all?
I just, you know, for young people in business, like, stick with it. You're gonna learn from your mistakes. And again, like, don't quit. Just don't quit. Find something else. Oh, I did want to mention too, like, you know, focus on the things like what I do in the morning is I do my emails. And then my major focus is like, what are the things that are going to generate income? Like, okay, so, you know, these contracts, I got to get them out. Like, I focus on the stuff first that I know it has to do with revenue. So, and then think about, okay, so now you're not finding time for certain things. Get a virtual assistant. See where you can hire someone to alleviate time for you to really focus on what matters most in life, business. Get a house cleaner if you're not having enough time with your husband, because that small amount of money that you're going to spend. Virtual assistants, you can find them. My friend has one, extremely cheap, from like, but she does all amazing things for her website. I hired a virtual assistant. She's local, but now I'm able to hand her stuff off and she's great. And I've said, this is how many hours we want to pay you a week for this stuff, and that's it. So that's my other advice, is really kind of, where do you need maybe some help?
Makes sense for sure. So
That's it.
perfect. Does anyone
Thank you,
have any
Sandra.
questions at all?
I had one.
Yes, Ryan.
This is sort of a general question. I'm getting into being self-employed really for the first time. And, you know, there's this time management aspect of it, which you've touched on several times in your conversations. And I think that this is something that a lot of people are struggling with, especially with work from home. But when you set your own schedule and you only have your goals, there's a tendency to either overcommit to the things that you're doing. I can find myself at 11:30 at night filling out paperwork, like maybe I should be going to bed right now. And you know, it's just those sort of things. Either you overcommit to getting things done absolutely right now, or obviously there's at least the fear in my mind that you'll undercommit and you won't get something essential done. How do you handle that sort of time management aspect of it?
So I generally put a time in my calendar that day, like, this is what I want to be done today. Like, I have to be done by 4 o'clock today, or, you know, so, and then you got to decide, like, what is the most important task that I need to do to get all this done by 4 o'clock, because I want my day to be done. That being said, it's hard when you're doing something and you're working and doing a business. And that's what we did. Like, I worked full time. I did stuff part-time. Joe worked, you know, on the business. And so I did have times where, okay, I'm working way too late, but maybe I think what happened too is I started saying, okay, well, maybe I'll allow myself one day a week that I'm going to work late. And that's going to be that day that, you know, but if you make that a habit, you get into a really bad cycle, because you're not getting enough sleep. You're not really being available to the people that need you, because you're exhausted, whatever. So when you're doing a side hustle, when you're really trying to business, there's going to be a period of time where you're working late nights. But my advice is try to restrict that. And the overcommit is huge. I've had to learn that too. What am I saying no to? What am I saying yes to? And I'll say no to things like, that's not going to work. I will not plan more than 2 meetings or gatherings a night during the week. I'm just not going to do it. Even in real estate, some people, like I said, they're gonna go, they don't care, they want the money, they're gonna work, 24/7. If it's gonna interfere with something, with my family, I straight out, I'm like, I'm not available that night, but I can do this and this and this. There has to be boundaries, and it'll get easier. So I hope that answered your question.
I think it did.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone else? Well, I just want to say thank you to Sandra again. It was a strange start to the
problem.
program, but it was a great ending, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate you all staying online as well. But thank you to Sandra as well. It's great to have her back this year. She has a lot of great advice, a lot of great experience herself, having multiple businesses of her own. And it's amazing seeing how you had started that business that didn't really come through to go on and start multiple others. It's great advice and great words of encouragement for young people in business. So thank you to Sandra again. I want to thank Parker and TD Bank again for the sponsorship as well. And Sandra, any words to close out at all? Or are you all set?
That's good. Just want to wish everyone a good year, good luck, and yeah.
Perfect.
If anytime you want to reach out for anything, you can email me anything at all.
Perfect. And as I mentioned, we're going to be hopefully going back into person for some of these next Generation Leaders programs in the near future. So we look forward to seeing you in person. And if anyone ever needs any help or assistance, the Merrimack Valley Chamber is here. So thank you all for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.